All right, everybody, what is going on? Jay Tracer here. The last video I made, it was going over the first series of the grand finals and kind of doing like a little bit of a watch party. But this is kind of a little bit of a podcast video. I have been wanting to talk about what is going on with Space Station Gaming. We have this new roster that was formed, and we thought it was looking mighty, fiery, feisty. You know, we got Stellur and Eco. They just won Worlds last year in October with Bound and Legend. And then we have two other world champions on their squad, Lucid and Snakebite. Snakebite won Worlds with FaZe. Lucid won the first Worlds in Season 1 with Optic Gaming. What is going on with this team? There's a lot of things I've been kind of like observing, a little bit of APG and Maniac and their BTH watch parties and things they've mentioned and said. I mean, APG is a very insightful person. He's, he has played with Lucid, so he can kind of give us a little bit of intel that I don't think anybody else really can. And he's kind of doing all these watch parties, so he can kind of like give us some insight, and I really, really appreciate APG for that. Dreamhacks is right around the corner. It's May 23rd through May 25th. There's a lot of drama happening in HCS with the players. I can't even keep up. The Rostermania left and right, precision being dropped and Huss and that, and like all these things going on. But right now I want to focus and talk about what's going on with like SSG here. Now, when I was watching APG and Maniacs watch party, I wrote down a lot of things they kind of mentioned, and we can go on from there. So today's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. Very beautiful day. But so back when I was watching this watch party, APG said, this is APG's thoughts. I'm going to go between APGs and Maniacs. And then we're going to talk a little bit about what I saw today in APG's stream with Stellur in his chat, which is a very interesting conversation that leads to other interesting conversations. So APG says, Lucid needs to take a step back from trying to be the in-game leader. He just needs to focus on himself and let other people on the team do the work for him. Just do less with communicating and try not to do everything. He doesn't need to be everything. He just needs to be Lucid. You can tell SSG with their gameplay and voice comms, they're very uncomfortable. They're not all on the same page. Tommy still does callouts like APG, is still on the team. Or he's on Optic. On Optic, Lucid wanted to be in-game leader. So as a team, they respected it, and then going forward, Lucid became their in-game leader on Optic Gaming. But on this SSG team, he doesn't need to do that and do everything. He thinks Lucid just wants the status and to be the full package. So let's go to Maniac and what he said. This is crazy. Lucid needs to STFU. Shut the up. That's crazy. Play your game. Everybody here knows that Lucid's amazing. He just needs to do his thing. Stay Slayer. Just slay out. So slay and stat. Dominate. That's what he's good at. Stop trying to micromanage these other three guys. So Maniac thinks, I'm kind of getting the vibes that both Maniac and APG thinks Lucid is micromanaging his teammates. So stop slamming strats or what your teammates should be doing. Sometimes how you stay stuff can stress the teammates out. Maniac says that with experience playing and matchmaking with him. I mean, we all know Lucid in matchmaking gets a little frustrated with players who are not pros. So just worry about dominating. Stellur, keep doing what you're doing. Snakebite, don't stress so much. Just play your game. Don't try to force your team to be fast team or in-game leader. Eco. Maniac wants Eco to be the in-game leader. It puts you in a position to win, not to do better individually. He has been surrounded by 3 amazing players and gods in the game. He understands how skilled teammates are. Eco should not tell them what to do by in-game. What? It says Eco should not be telling them what to do, but be the IGLing. Okay. Thinks Eco plays worse than he thinks Eco plays worse when they try to tell him what to do. So let's go back to APG. Kevin is not comfortable with that team. He has Lucid and Snakebite telling him what to do. Snakebite doesn't believe in an in-game leader in this game. That's what he said. I don't know. They need really good practices. Like when they practice, they need to do intuitive practicing and really think about what they're doing. They need to come to work every single day. APG had some really good insight and thoughts on this day when I was listening. I also have a few clips from when he did mention this on his stream outside of the watch party. I mean, he's been going over this whole like what's going on with SSG for a while now, and there's so much to think about. So let's go back to Maniac. Maniac says Lucid would never get dropped on this team. His skill is too high. He feels like Lucid is trying to make it too calculated. Maybe he's too methodical. Maybe he needs to think less and just do more action. I don't know. Renegade said he is super comfortable in Optic because they let him play how he wants to. And that showcased how well he did play in Arlington. This is what Lucid should do with his team. Lucid will call you out a lot. He said that he's experienced that with him in matchmaking. ABG says if SSG does not look any better, I can see Stellur maybe wanting to go somewhere else. These are just the thoughts are some of the thoughts going on between APG and Maniac. They've been doing a lot of watch parties and that's been cool. I really been enjoying that. So thank you guys for putting that on for us. But the more HCS content, the better. I love HCS, obviously. Look at me, I'm here. So today I was watching APG stream and it was really interesting because Stellur went into he went into APG stream and he said a few things. He was really wondering why the stats were how they were, and APG went to look at them and it's like, what's going on? Like Stellur is he's either putting a lot of damage down that's not getting picked up by his team, who's finishing and finishing up and cleaning up the kills. It just seems like everybody's kind of playing their own game than a game together. But one thing he said that really stood out to me that made me question things from the past. He said, I'm not watching any more VODs. And then he also said, nothing else matters but first, bro. And I'm thinking, you know, I'm no pro player, but I love sports. Even the best athletes in the world do film review. I think VOD review is very important. I think for you to be a better player in whatever you're doing, whether it's Halo, football, basketball, whatever it is, you need to do film review. I don't think you can be the best in the world if you're not analyzing how to be better. I mean, come on, Tiger Woods is probably analyzing his swing. Like the man's like one of the best, has had the best golfing. He's the GOAT. He probably still VOD does a film review of his swing. When I used to golf, I used to watch my swing. You got to fix that. Like VOD review of anything, no matter what you're doing, you got to do it. So let's go back a long time ago when SSG had that squad ace, Elamite's brother, that whole squad. I had to go back and look at who was on the team at the time. But I was watching Snakebite's stream and Elamite came in there. This was like back in season 1 or so. And he said, I don't know what's going on. Elamite said to Snakebite, I don't know what's going on. They don't want to do VOD review. What do I do? And Snakebite and him were talking, but eventually that team got dropped. So it's like, what? I wonder what Elamite, I don't know any of this is just like let's have an open discussion kind of thing of what we think is going on with SSG. Obviously, I don't know anything. I just know what I'm seeing, but it's just all like really interesting to think about and talk about. So it's like, I wonder what Elamite thinks about that. I think VOD reviews are so important. I don't know. I find that very strange. I don't feel like you can excel if you don't try to look at what you're doing wrong and course correct. You know, work on your weaknesses together as a team. Like you look at the VODs, you say, hey, like you're going over here, you're doing that. Like we need to come together and do this. Like as a team. Like it just seems kind of a little bit stubborn to be like, I'm not watching VOD review. Like what if Snakebite or Lucid wanted to do VOD review and then Stellur didn't? I can see how that causes a lot of like issues on the team. So I thought that was very interesting. Now, if we go back to season 1 when Renegade was on Cloud 9, I think Renegade mentioned how you know, it didn't seem like they were taking it serious. I don't know. Why did Renegade not want to be with Stellur and Eco? Is it because Stellur doesn't believe in VOD reviews? I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I wish I could do an interview with Renegade and ask him what it was like. Because, like, you look at this team and you look at them on paper, and these players are incredible. Like Stellur, Eco, Snakebite, Lucid. Just because every one of these players have rings means that together they're going to gel well and play well, and we're kind of already seeing that. You know, they're not really bringing in, there's something going on. What is it? So you go to like HaloDatahive and you look at the stats and stuff, and like they're doing really well in their scrims. Like, you know, they're beating all the teams that, like, except for Shopify, Rebellion, and Optic. They're tying with FaZe. They won a game against FaZe. So like in scrims, they're not doing that bad. I mean, we kind of all expect Shopify, Rebellion, and Optic to be hard to compete against right now. I just think they're on a different level. But if Stellur says like nothing matters but being first, how do you get there? Like, how do you beat Optic? How do you beat Shopify? VOD reviews. Maybe they're VODs. Maybe, you know what I mean? Like, so my question is, why not do VOD reviews? Are they just like afraid to dive into what they're doing wrong? Or has Stellur always been like that? I have no idea. What are your guys' thoughts about if you had a teammate who said, hey, I'm not doing VOD reviews anymore? That's crazy to me. I don't know. That's just crazy. This is a very interesting conversation. I'll throw in some of APG's, some of his clips from his stream.
SSG, they have all the pieces to be successful. They just kind of have to put them together in the right place, like a puzzle. I think right now they're just on completely different pages of how they want to play the game. I think a lot of teams are like that, and you can kind of tell that some of these teams didn't have the best practice going into the event. For instance, TSM, they look like they were completely not on the same page this weekend. You know, and they would say the same thing themselves. I have a lot of I had a lot of high expectations for TSM. I had very high expectations for TSM. You know, when they were playing FaZe, we were saying, oh, this is going to be a close series. It might go to 3. It might be 3-1. Might go game 5. No, everybody had high expectations for TSM, and they underperformed. You could tell when they were playing, they weren't on the same page. You could clearly tell it. SSG, if you were watching the watch party over the weekend, you would hear me talk about how I want to listen to a listen-in with SSG because they have technically 3 IGLs. PJ took a step back, I think, from the IGLing, just main IGLing on FaZe last year. I think he took a step back, and Frosty was the main IGL. You also hear that on Shopify. And when I say IGL, it's not necessarily like how an IGL how you view it in other games. It's just a voice that you look to in times of adversity or when your back's against the wall. So if it's 49-49, you're spawning up on elevator, on recharge, you want to have that one voice that you're looking to make a play call. Because if you have too many different people saying a play, then it's like, all right, who do I listen to? Who do I trust? Because when you're in a 49-49 situation, you have to make a play. You got to do something. You don't want to just sit there and let them push you and die. You feel me? So you want to have that voice that's like, all right, let's do this. You trust them and you go and do it. If you die, then you die, but at least you did it together. It's better to do something wrong together than the right thing completely separate. Because if you do the right thing completely separate, you might just be winning a piv. You might just be getting into an area by yourself. Your teammates, it's just not something that's going to work consistently because it's just like a one-off, or it's just you're not necessarily one-off, but it's just a situation that it's not planned. It's not calculated. It's not something that you are always going to be intentionally doing. You feel me? So, so they just let Lucid run free. I think Tommy was playing very well this weekend. And this is going back to even the IGL thing. I was talking about how PJ took a step back for Brad Frosty. You know, Tommy wanted to be the IGL on our Optic team. You know what I'm saying? He wanted to be the IGL on our Optic team. He wanted to take over that role. And, you know, there's no problem with that. We let him. So I don't know. And also, before I continue, also Eco is an IGL too. Yeah, Eco being the IGL. and Eco's been like one of the most efficient IGLs because of how he conveys what he wants to get done. He will say it in very few words, but those few words it will make sense. You know what I'm saying? He's not cluttering the comms. It's like PJ, go here. Let's do this. Like that, real quick. But he's saying it in a very, like, his tone of voice, he's not soft spoken. You can hear it. It's like his voice can, it's just his voice will be heard. Eco's voice will be heard. So on that team, I'm just still wondering, where are they as a whole? Like, who are they looking at when they need that voice of reason? You know what I'm saying? How are they in practice? Are they overanalyzing things? Are they just, are they trying to play aggressive, but some people don't want to play aggressive? Or are they trying to play one side of the map, but the other team, the other half of the team wants to play the opposite? I'm not 100% sure. I just know that team is very smart. It's very smart, and if you look at that team on paper, it's damn near like the second most stacked roster in the HCS right now. You have 2 MVPs. Excuse me, in this game. Just speaking about this game in particular, it's actually insane. You have 2 MVPs. Okay, you have Lucid and Stellur, MVP year 1 and year 2. Excuse me, and then you have 4 world champions. Eco and Stellur from last year, and then you have Tommy from year 1, PJ from year 2. The team is fucking stacked. And that's where, like, I think people are doubting them because they look at a team that's so stacked like that and wonder, why aren't you having a little bit of immediate success? It's not to say that they need to be winning tournaments right away, but people are wondering, why aren't you putting up more of a fight against these teams? We want to see you in the finals. Like, that's a finals championship roster. You know what I'm saying? And right now, you have Optic and Shopify. People are saying that those are like the clear-cut top 2. But at SSG, especially Phase 2, Phase is playing incredible this past weekend until Sunday.
And you can see what he has to say. He kind of says what I've already mentioned in those clips. But he said it's the same story over and over again. Either way, there's literally something out of place with this team. They're not confident together. They don't let each other shine the way they should. I think, like, to be a good player, you kind of have to let your teammate play their Halo, play their best, let them shine, And I don't know if, like, are they just, like, being stubborn, not letting each other play their own game while playing well together? I love that Renegade says that he feels comfortable in Optic because they let him play how he wants. That's great. And it works because Renegade went off in Arlington. I would say that if there was an MVP for Arlington, it was Renegade. He played so good, and his team let him shine. I love that. Like, when you let your teammates shine, and you win. When you let others win, you win. Don't you want to win? Do some bot reviews, Stellur. Anyways, this is just a short little conversation to have. I'm really excited for Dreamhacks. More videos to come. I've been super busy recently doing a lot of stuff, so sorry that it's been 2 weeks since my last video, but we're gonna have watch parties still, more to come, doing the best I can here. But what are your guys' thoughts on this SSG squad? If you see any intel, comment down below what you've seen. I'm very curious to know. This is just a really interesting conversation. I really wish I could be like, yo, Renegade, what was it like teaming with Stellur and Eco? I'm more intrigued on that. I already have like a pretty good idea of what it was for APG with Lucid. He's talked a lot about it. But seriously, thank you so much, APG, for all the content and everything you've done. And Maniac for doing the watch parties. That's been cool. I just like more HCS, the better. So yeah, it's been fun. I'm going to wrap the video up here. Let me know what you guys think. And let me show you the calendar for this month of May right now. Bada bing, bada boom. What do you think about that? A lot of grassroots events. Anyways, Dreamhacks is going to be exciting. you know we're going to be studying SSG. There's so much to talk about. Complexity, whoa. But today it's just SSG focus. So anyways, thank you for watching the video. I hope you have an amazing day. More HCS is on the way. And yeah, we love Halo here. So thanks for watching. And yeah, Jay is